We'll be taking you live to Albany, where people from Central New York are among those at a rally. Why and what they're rallying about is just ahead.
And we've got everything you need to know about traffic for tonight's Dave Matthews Band concert.
And an update on the future of Harvey Weinstein. The Hollywood producer was arraigned earlier today. Good afternoon and welcome to NCC News at 4 o'clock. I'm Jonathan Singh.
And I jumped the gun a little bit. Good afternoon, I'm Dominique Patrick. Today we start with our top story. Concert season is upon us, and Central New York is getting ready for tonight's Dave Matthews Band concert. NCC's news reporter Odea Pincus is live at the amphitheater to tell us what you should expect with traffic and parking. Odea?
Thanks, Dominique. Things are underway here at the entrance to the amphitheater. I'm standing right here where the highway meets the entrance, and it's looking like people are already getting let in, even before 4. Now, behind me, people were waiting. Some tried to get in as early as 10 o'clock, but were turned away. Now, these are some hardcore Dave Matthews Band fans, and let me tell you, now, there are going to be a couple things that you should know before going in. Doors for the concert open at 6:30, and the show doesn't start until 8. So if you haven't left yet, here's some things to keep in mind. Parking will be available in the orange lot and the pink lot and the brown lots. Now, there's construction in the orange lot, which is going to make parking a little bit limited. Now, also the pedestrian bridge over I-690 is closed. So if you park in the pink or the brown lot, you're going to have to take a shuttle service over. Now, that shuttle service is provided starting at 5:30, and it is free. Parking on a first-come, first-served basis, and general parking is $10 per car. Now, these die-hard fans that I spoke to, one of them had a tattoo, one of them, and she also had these specially made earrings. Now, these are people that follow Dave Matthews Band literally all over the world. She said she went to Mexico to speak to him. Now, we're going to see how this plays out in the rest of the newscast. Back to you guys at the desk.
We are now live with Christine Morton for the first forecast. Christine, how's the weather going to be for those concert goers tonight?
Good evening, Dominique. It is actually, the sun has started to come out. All day we've had some dreary weather. It was chilly. I will have to say it is a little chilly right now. The wind is blowing, as you can see my hair. But for the concert goers tonight, it will drop, that 62 will drop to about in the mid-50s, so definitely bring a jacket. And for anyone who will be sitting on those lawn seats, you will need a blanket because it will be chilly. And make sure to dress warm because you know you want to dance a little bit and have some fun, but you also want to make sure that you're warm while you're having a good time. But the humidity, as you can see, is low. We have some winds west at 10, so it is going to be a beautiful night, but just a little bit chilly, and hopefully none of those scattered storms find their way in during the concert. Back to you in studio.
All right, Christine, good to know. While you're making your way to the concert, watch out for the construction on Hiawatha Boulevard. That began today. The city announced that between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., east and westbound lanes between North Salina Street and Solar Street will be closed for construction.
The mother of Selena Hidalgo Calderon released a statement today asking for better protection and laws for immigrants after her daughter was found dead. A press conference was held today to allow advocates to speak on preventing future tragedies like this one. These advocates also announced that Selena purchased a car not too long before her death, which would have risked her immigration status. Selena's 1-year-old son, Owen, is still missing, and the search was called off after 2 weeks. In the statement released today, Selena's mother wants the public to know that Selena was a good person.
Immigrants are not evil. We come here to work. We come here because we are running from problems in our own country, like poverty and violence. The person who did this to my daughter is evil.
Selena's family has been in touch with the sheriff's office to receive constant updates on Owen.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S. employment rate has dropped down to 3.8% this month, and the number of people unemployed declined to 6.1 million.
However, the New York State Department of Labor Medical Center OCC are hoping to have a hand in changing this locally by hosting the 2018 Central New York Career Expo today. Attendees were able to connect with more than 220 local businesses from over 10 different industries, offering more than 5,000 jobs.
The New York State Capitol is alive with the support of the community. NCC News reporter Matt St. Jean is live in Albany, where he tells us the latest of what we need to know about United Healthcare. Matt.
Jonathan and Dominique, the plaza behind me was alive with the sound of advocacy. People from all over New York State flocked to Albany in support of the New York Health Act, and according to organizers, the primary goal is to provide all of New York State citizens with health care. The rally started at the Hart Theater in the Egg, where participants fueled up on bagels and coffee for the big day. After a brief meeting to go over their itineraries, it was time to hit the street and let their voices be heard. Despite the rain, nearly a dozen people got up to speak to share their experiences amid cheers and chants. One chant in particular put the state legislators on notice. If they don't pass it, vote them out. A man from Syracuse made the journey to the Capitol because of his nightmare experience trying to pay his health care bills without insurance after an accident.
Because I didn't have health care at the time, I have a big bill came to me for the doctor office and for the emergency building, where I have to go and get financial help to pay that bill.
Telfer isn't the only one who feels the pang of lack of access. A group of bike messengers rode all the way from Brooklyn in honor of their fellow messenger who recently passed away because he couldn't afford to see a doctor. Now, this is the fourth year in a row that this bill has been on the Assembly and Senate floors. It actually passed in the Assembly all 3 years prior, but hit a roadblock when it went to the Senate. However, organizers are feeling confident that this is their year, as they already have 31 co-sponsors of the bill, one short of a majority in order to get it passed. Back to you in the studio, Dominique and Jonathan.
Thanks, Matt. Harvey Weinstein turned himself in last week, and the 66-year-old posted bail for $1 million. But today, he stood in front of a Manhattan judge and pleaded not guilty. Weinstein has denied all allegations of non-consensual sex, and his lawyer is challenging the credibility of the alleged victims. He called the rape allegation absurd, saying that the accuser had a long consensual relationship that continued after the alleged attack in 2013. Weinstein was charged with 2 counts of rape and 1 of criminal sexual act. He faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted of either offense.
And a breakthrough study just released on breast cancer. Stay with us to hear about what can be done to avoid chemotherapy.
And we'll have a pretty cool story on this unique Central New York team. Stay with us.
Today is one of the most important primary days of the year. 8 states, including California and New Jersey, are casting midterm primary ballots with implications for control of the House and Senate. As for you, the New York State primary election is only a few weeks away. Tuesday, June 26th is when you can get out and vote.
Fashion designer Kate Spade was found dead in her New York apartment. Reports say it was an apparent suicide and was supposedly found by her housekeeper. Spade was 55 years old and co-founder of Kate Spade handbags in the 90s until she sold it in 2007. Reports also say that Spade left a note for her daughter saying she shouldn't blame herself for the suicide. The details are unclear right now, but as this story develops, we'll have the updates for you here on NCC News. The next airing of the Miss America pageant will be inclusive to women of all sizes by getting rid of the swimsuit portion. Gretchen Carlson, the chairwoman of the Miss America Board of Directors, says we will no longer judge our candidates on their outward physical appearance. That's huge. These changes had been expected since the organization is now being led entirely by women for the first time.
In Parkland, Florida, Scott Peterson, the armed Broward County school officer at Stoneman Douglas High School, apologized for the actions that he didn't take during the Valentine's Day shooting. Patterson said it was not fear that kept him from not rushing into the high school. It was chaos, miscommunication, and the assumption that shots were being fired outside by a sniper. Patterson was the only armed officer on campus when shooter Nicholas Cruz opened fire.
And staying with the Parkland updates, nearly 4 months after the Parkland High School shooting that claimed the lives of 17 students and staff members, Stoneman Douglas High School held its graduation ceremony yesterday. Hundreds of seniors walked across the stage in MSD strong sashes during a private graduation ceremony. The school honored those not with us and presented diplomas posthumously to the families of the 4 seniors who lost their lives. The ceremony even got a surprise visit from Jimmy Fallon. Graduating senior Sam Zeif says this usually joyous occasion is bittersweet for the 2018 graduating class.
Kind of hard to be really excited about it because not everyone's here.
Guatemala is dealing with an unexpected volcanic eruption causing a much more severe effect than the Hawaiian Kilauea eruption. The difference between these two is that Guatemala's eruption caused pyroclastic flow and Kilauea's eruption caused lava. Now the difference, pyroclastic flow is a mix of ash, rock, and volcanic gases that could be much more dangerous than lava. According to reports, 69 people reported dead since the explosion in Guatemala.
Basically, there's no homes left, and to my assumption, I don't think there's nobody left there with life.
The ashes have covered up to a 12-mile radius affecting 1.7 million people. Only 3,100 people have been evacuated. Emergency officials continue the search to look for survivors and bodies. With the summer quickly approaching, you might find yourself reaching for last year's sunscreen in the glove compartment.
Coming up on NCC News, find out how to tell if last year's tube is expired. And with summer right around the corner, you'll probably be digging out last year's sunscreen from your beach bag. With summer right around the corner, you're probably digging out last year's sunscreen from your beach bag.
NCC News reporter Christine Morton says before you begin to use that old tube, you might want to make sure it still can protect you. Christine.
That's right, guys. I've always been told make sure to put on sunscreen a half hour before I go outside, or that I should be wearing it all year long, but it never crossed my mind to check if it was actually expired. Whether you enjoy fishing, grilling with friends, or taking your kids to play in the park, there is one thing all of these activities have in common during the summer months. They take place under the sun and run the risks from its exposure.
About 1 person every hour dies of a melanoma.
But even with sunscreen, you're still at risk if the one you're using is expired.
And so you really don't want to use a sunscreen beyond the expiration date, because those chemicals have degraded in such a way that they can no longer either absorb or reflect the harmful UV rays that they're intended to stop.
The FDA states the life expectancy of a bottle of sunscreen is 3 years. But Dr. Ramsey Farah, chief dermatologist at Upstate Medical University, says outside factors can turn those 3 years into 1 or less.
If you leave it in the car and you live in Houston and your car consistently gets very hot when it's parked outside, that's probably one reason why it may degrade.
But Dr. Farah says there are a few ways to check to see if your last season's sunscreen needs to go in the trash. First, you want to check if the bottle has an expiration date. If no label is found, you then check to see if the consistency has changed and is now clumpy, as well as the color has changed too.
So look at the sunscreen inside, look at the expiration date, and make a judgment.
Dr. Farah says instead of buying sunscreen in a transparent or clear bottle,
so you want to make sure that the bottle is at least opaque, and you want to keep it out of extremes of temperature.
Yeah, guys, I was shocked to learn that sunscreen expires. I had no idea. But just to everyone out there, make sure you're checking your bottles as you get ready to hit those beaches for the summer.
Christine Morton, thank you.
Coming up in sports, a sport that goes just beyond what you see on the track. Stick around for sports right after this.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Frank DeLuca. Welcome to your NCC Sports Update. The White House isn't quite as crowded as it should be today after an audible from President Trump. The Stanley Cup final continues with a pivotal Game 4 matchup in Washington, And one local athlete gets chosen in the MLB draft. Find out where he landed and in what round on my full sportscast at 4:45. In roller derby, bruises fade, but the bonds created can last a lifetime. I met up with CNY roller derby athletes in Rome and found out just what it meant to be a part of the team. Roller derby. For some, it's like a second family.
The girls love each other and we're always there for support, whether you have a bad practice or you have something going on in your life.
For others, the family aspect is a bit more literal.
I skate with my mom and my sister. I can come here and say mom, and sometimes she'll have that mentality where she won't respond to me at all. She'll have hard feelings about it, but we leave here and we're still very close.
But that's not to say it's all lovey-dovey.
It definitely has a physical aspect to it, and I know that it does take courage and you're going to get knocked down and you have to get back up or else you're going to lose points for it.
When roller derby athletes are on the track, they know they've got to be just the right amount of mean to succeed. But they also know not to take it too seriously because at the end of the day, everybody's got to get up and go to their day jobs.
I'm pretty much the same person whether I'm at work or whether I'm at roller derby. I'm actually an athletic trainer, so I spend my time at sports all the time taking care of injured kids.
I'm a volunteer EMT sometimes. I also bartend, so being that I can come here and watch games and EMT at the same time, it's a little bit different for me, but I know a lot of other people, they're like teachers and they come here, kind of let loose, let out some frustration.
And even though some people leave real life at home, they can take the benefits of the sport with them.
Roller derby has made me more confident than maybe I would have been without, and more willing to love my body as it is.
1, 2, 3, To learn about the rules of roller derby and how you can get involved in Central New York, visit nccnewsonline.com. Live in the studio, I'm Frank DeLuca. I'll have an extended report at 4:45. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up ahead, we have interesting facts about online dating.
Our own Julian Wiggum is live in the studio to tell us what online dating can do to the brain. Stay with us.
Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women worldwide. About 70% of women diagnosed with the early stages of the most common forms of breast cancer might not need chemotherapy as part of treatment, according to the results of a long study presented at the American Society of Clinical Oncology. A 21-gene test to assess the risk of cancer reoccurrence could spare women unnecessary treatment if the test indicates that chemotherapy is not likely to provide benefit. A new study shows how online dating can affect your body. Stay with us on NCC News to find out how a specific nervous system reacts to some online dating apps.
We have our Liliana Pearson to tell you what you can expect in the next hour.
Thanks, and you're right, we have a lot coming up for you. A rock star is expected to bring out quite the crowd tonight for the first feature show of the season in Joseph's Health Amphitheater at Lakeview. Reporter Odea Pincus will be live to tell you how to navigate the parking. And live from Albany, New York residents are rallying to fight for fair health care coverage. We'll also have the latest on Selena Hidalgo Calderon and how her death and missing son spurred her family to fight for undocumented immigrants.
For those who use social media dating apps, swiping and chatting your way to your next date may come with a few side effects.
Julian Wiggum is live in the studio to tell us how your body reacts to certain situations that these apps can create.
Yep, dating apps are growing and populated with no signs of slowing down. Check out this first screen. Match.com is reporting 3.4 million users currently. Tinder, 1.6 billion swipes per day and up to 1.5 million dates a year. Hookup culture on Tinder is what, let me swipe real quick, get this handsome guy out the way. Hookup culture on Tinder, isn't what it used to be. More people are searching for relationships more than ever before, according to the dating app, but easy dating options aren't making users any happier. According to, rejection hurts. The number of unreturned messages and failed matches leads to more disappointment than ever before, and the increased number isn't good for users' mental health. For you guys, back to the studio.
That does it for NCC News at 4 o'clock. I'm Jonathan Singh.
And I'm Dominique Patrick. Are you going to the concert tonight?
I am not going to the concert. Maybe I'll go to the concert when Zach Brown Band comes. Who knows?
Oh, okay. See, I'm ready to see Paramore, honestly, because, I mean, all these other, they're not really my genre. Yeah. I'm ready to see Paramore. So that's it for the news. Stay tuned for the next newscast at 4:45. Have a wonderful day.